Hello guys, welcome back to Annie Narrates. Here we review stories that beautiful people like yourselves post on the internet. We got a couple stories for you today. Story 1. I'm 20 female, sister's 28 female. Behavior towards my boyfriend 21 male is horrendous. This is going to be long. I'm warning you, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and I'm shaking. I need to write it down and hear some advice. My sis is just so creepy towards my boyfriend. I can't take it anymore. She was really spoiled by my parents when she was young because she was their first child. She always wants everything, and when we were little, she always used to steal my toys, books, and clothes. I was never allowed to touch any of her things, but she constantly stole my stuff and was always rude to me. My mom for some reason has always preferred her over me, and thus, most of the time I was told to let it go. Due to this, I have lots of resentment towards her, and I don't really like her. I am honestly sick of her behavior, and I just want some peace and quiet in my house. My mom called me 2 weeks ago, pleading to let my sis stay with me because she doesn't have a job right now, and she can't stay alone during quarantine. Both my parents are high risk. My mom has heart problems, and my dad is asthmatic. So I thought I should let her stay with me and my boyfriend instead of letting her go to my parents in case she infects them. There's been a few cases where she is, so I didn't want to risk it. Now, I am honestly starting to regret it. Her behavior is creepy and strange and downright disgusting. First of all, she doesn't respect me at all. She's constantly ignoring me while having long talks with my boyfriend. She doesn't leave my boyfriend alone. She flirts with him and constantly tries to touch him by using cheap tricks. When we watch movies, she pushes me away and tries to snuggle with my boyfriend. She slaps his butt when he walks by and loudly tells him how he has a perky little butt. She also runs her fingers through his hair every day, saying, "Whoa, your hair is so soft," or some shit like that. What the F? These are all just excuses to touch him. She just needs a chance. Another thing she does is ask him if he has abs so he can touch his torso, or say, "Did you see this thing I lost? Maybe it's in your pocket, let me see," and proceeded to pat his thighs. One time she wanted help with hooking her bra, and she just effing walks out in her underwear. She came to our room, and my boyfriend was in the bathroom. The logical thing to do is just effing ask me. I am her sister. But what does she do? She just waits for my boyfriend and asks him instead, even though I'm sitting right there. I think I looked very upset because my boyfriend just told her no, and she went back to her room. She didn't try that again. This is not even all. My boyfriend and I can't even talk to each other without her interrupting us. She barges into our room with no warning. A few days ago, we were trying to have sex, and I don't know how the F she realized it and started banging on the door, claiming to have a headache. I opened the door and asked her what was wrong. I told her I had pills for it, but she just said she doesn't trust me and wanted to talk to my boyfriend instead. After disturbing us, she was suddenly completely fine and her headache disappeared miraculously. She just came into our bedroom and started talking to my boyfriend. We were literally half naked and there was no way she didn't know. This is driving me crazy. What does she want? Why is she like this? I don't like it. It's not like I didn't talk to her. I was so angry she interrupted us because she has been doing this since she came here. I was feeling horny and angry. I just told her to get out and that we needed some time alone. I don't want to go into details, but we had a small argument and she started crying. The thing is, she never accepts it. She is completely blinded to what she's doing. She denies doing it and sheds tears, which ends up making me feel bad instead. My boyfriend is so uncomfortable by all this. He just looks exhausted all the time. He's trying his best to be nice, but she's all over him all the time. He is usually very introverted, shy, and quiet. He's not very confrontational, and I know this is bothering him. When I talked to him about it, he just commented that it was a bad idea to invite her to stay here. He also said not to invite her ever again. I want to know why she's like this. How can I make her see what she's doing? I'm done dealing with her. I don't want to see her ever again, but she's my parents' favorite child, and no matter how hard I try, I can never escape her. Whenever I try to cut contact with her, my mom calls me and begs me to forgive her. My mom doesn't want to see her daughters fighting with each other, and she always says how she wants us to be together forever. But I can't do this. How am I supposed to deal with this? Can someone please tell me? My mom has always taken my sister's side in everything, and it's always me who has to be quote-unquote understanding and smart and older when I'm the younger one here. Please tell me I'm not overreacting. How do I make my mom and sister realize that I am sick of dealing with this? TLDR. My sis tries to flirt with my boyfriend and keeps touching him all over the place. She doesn't accept that what she's doing is wrong, and I am sick of her behavior. How do I deal with this? Kick her out. She is sexually harassing your boyfriend. You can't control what your parents do. They will probably take her in from what you've said here. That's on them. If you push your relationship by keeping her in your house, despite her making your boyfriend rightfully uncomfortable with her behavior, that you clearly recognize as wrong, that's on you. If you're feeling super generous, I guess you could have a very frank conversation with her, preferably with your boyfriend in the room, that what she's doing is not only disrespectful of your relationship with your boyfriend, but sexual harassment. Point out she's dumb enough that she's doing it in your house, and you will be forced to kick her out if she continues. But you are well within your rights to just boot her ass now. Kick her out. Explain to your mom how she's treating your boyfriend, and if she still takes her side or begs you to forgive her, your mom has stuff to work on. From one second born to another, parents don't realize how much favoritism affects siblings' relationships. If she expects you and your sister to be together forever, as you described, then your mother also needs to be able to be held accountable for how your sister is acting. A person can only be a spoiled brat if they have someone enabling them to be one. She's harassing your significant other, and you have done very little to protect him against her. You know exactly what she's doing and why. You have a choice. Let her stay and ruin your relationship, or grow a spine and kick her out. Don't want to deal with your mom crying on the phone? Don't answer. Don't want your sister to be homeless? Not your problem. She had her chance and she blew it. Pack up her shit and throw her out. Keep your significant other out of this, and make sure she can't claim he got physical with her while throwing her out. This is not acceptable, and I think you are an absolute idiot for not dealing with this sooner. I'm on mobile. I apologize for any mistakes. Hi, first of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your help. I'm really grateful for the support I've received here, and all those little messages some of you sent me really made me understand the situation I was in. The many comments I read here gave me the strength I needed to talk to my sister. Thank you guys. I should probably tell you that this might not be the perfect badass ending you were all expecting, and I apologize for that. I've always had a hard time standing up against my sister. Like I said in my original post, my boyfriend doesn't like confrontations either, and he's also a huge people pleaser, which makes this situation harder for both of us. Nevertheless, I finally decided to talk to my sister yesterday. She was actually sitting in my living room in her underwear and bra, and I completely lost my shit. I told her multiple times to wear some clothes, but she said it was too hot, which it was not. She then made a small comment about me being insecure about my boyfriend liking her or something like that, and that made me angry. I sat her down and we talked. I told her she was making me uncomfortable. She was making my boyfriend uncomfortable, and we wanted her to leave. She looked very shocked by it, because I don't think I have ever talked to her like that. She immediately apologized though. She said she didn't know or some bullshit, which I wasn't going to fall for this time. I gave her an ultimatum. She needed to pack her shit out and get out in 3 hours. She looked very emotional, and she apologized a lot, said sorry a lot, and told me that she loved me. She said that she would never intentionally try to hurt me. If I quote-unquote misunderstood her actions, it wasn't her fault. She kept saying she didn't know. She said she was just trying to be quote-unquote friendly to my boyfriend, which is not true at all. I asked her if sexually harassing someone was friendly to her, and she started crying. By this time, my boyfriend, who was in our bedroom, avoiding my sister and her skimpy clothing, came to support me. She kind of directed her questions towards him. She asked him if she was making him uncomfortable. He said yes, and she cried and apologized. She then tried to gain his sympathy by saying that I was kicking her out when she had no place to go. She also lied that I always was mean to her. She completely ignored me and asked him if she could stay. She had nowhere else to go. Of course he said no. What the F did she think? I will forever remember the look on her face. So yeah, she actually refused to leave, cried a lot and said that she was jobless and she didn't have money, no place to stay, no friends, and so forth. I told her she had no friends because she was a B word. The first time I said something like this to my sister. She then tried to guilt trip me to let her stay by repeating the words, "I'm your sister, family, I love you," and all that. Me and my boyfriend helped her pack all her stuff and put it next to her car. I told her that she can stay in her car. I didn't care. I wanted her to go. It wasn't really epic like some of you wanted. I was actually crying a little while I was shouting at her because I was shaking so much. At one point, my boyfriend had to tell me to calm down. It was just so overwhelming. I'm just glad she's gone. She did leave eventually. She was calling someone, and I'm pretty sure she went back to her own flat. Thank God she's not going to my parents, because I don't think she knows how to quarantine. I know she won't quarantine, and this was the main reason I was hesitant to kick her out. 2 to 3 hours after she left, my mom called me and yelled at me for kicking her out. I shouldn't have been shocked when she accused my boyfriend of bothering my sister. My mom also asked me what kind of man I was dating, I should leave him, and so forth. I should have expected that, really. I tried to reason with her, but my mom was just angry at me. She asked me things like, "How can you do this to your own sister?" and similar BS she should be asking my sister. At that point, I was so effing angry. I was in tears and shaking. I just told her to F off in anger and hung up. It was just a weird day. I'm so proud of myself for finally standing up to my sister, but I also don't really feel like getting up from my bed. My boyfriend is back to his cheerful self, and I'm happy about that. But I just feel like such an idiot. I should have realized my mom would never take my side a long time ago. I just don't understand what I did to make my mom so angry at me. Why doesn't she love me? I have done everything she asked me to do, but she never takes my side in things. I just want her to effing love me and support me for once. It just never happens, and I feel like I'm an effing idiot for even trying. I think she regrets I was even born. Anyway, F that. I'm done trying to reason with them. My mom will never believe in me. Pretty sure my sister lied to her, so mom keeps calling and trying to speak to my boyfriend. I'm currently thinking of cutting off all of my family. All they do is make me feel like shit. I deserve better than that. My boyfriend deserves better than that. I apologize for venting. What's done is done. I don't regret it. I'm glad I have my boyfriend and he loves me unlike my family, and we finally have some alone time. He's been so moody, but right now he's actually cooking and stuff, and he hasn't done that ever since sister came here. So yeah, I'm glad she's gone. My boyfriend is glad she's gone. I finally have some peace and quiet in my home. Thank you so much to everyone. I don't think I can thank you all enough. Some of you talk to me, send me messages, and it really opened my eyes. I'll take care of myself and my boyfriend now. Thank you. Edit. Thank you everyone. I've been reading your comments. I am still shocked by the support I've received here. Please know that I appreciate it so much, even though I may not be able to reply. Thank you. You said not to expect a badass ending, but you were a stone cold badass. I'm so proud of you for self-advocating and for protecting the man you love from a sexual predator. I know that must have been incredibly painful, but the worst part is over. The infections are gone. It still hurt, but keep yourself clean and away from her, and you'll make it. Well done. Reply. Thank you for saying that. I'll remember this whenever I need some extra courage in the future. You don't have to apologize for anything here. I suspect your people-pleasing button was installed by your mother, which is why she's making you feel like crap, even though you were clearly in the right. With some people like your mom, you have to stop asking why and behave according to their own behavior, which is cut off people who continually make you feel like crap while you beg for their love and acceptance. Good luck. OP. Don't expect a badass ending. Also OP. Stands up to her family, stands up for herself and her boyfriend, holds her ground against her mom and sister, refuses to let her sister's manipulation get to her, allows her to feel whatever emotion she's feeling without letting it cloud her judgment, is absolutely a badass throughout the entire encounter. Seriously, you did great. I have no words of advice here, but I hope that once things die down, you're able to think about what kind of future relationship you want with your mom and sister with some clarity. But for now, enjoy this win. Standing up for yourself is never easy, but you did it. Story 2. My 25 female roommate has been hiding her pregnancy from me, 32 female, because she knows I don't want to live with kids and she does not want to move out. Betty is about 5 months pregnant from what she tells me and wants nothing to do with the baby's father. She wants to keep the baby. I really don't want to live with kids, much less a baby. The lease is in my name only, and I just renewed it for another year last month. Also, I do not want to move out since any other place around is nearly 3 times the rent I'm paying now, and my job is so close by. I'm not sure she has anywhere to go if she does leave, which is why this is so hard. We've shared the app for 2 years, and I have no other issues with her until now. Betty starts crying whenever I try to talk to her about it, and I can't seem to get any words in. It makes me feel super shitty every time. Honestly, I'm not even sure how to bring it up without sounding like an a-hole. Am I being a jerk by kicking out a pregnant woman? Should I just avoid the fight and move out myself? TLDR. Roommate is pregnant and knows I don't like kids. I want to ask her to move out, but every time I try, she gets all emotional. I am not trying to be insensitive, but I really don't want to live with a baby. I am not sure she has any close family who can help her. What can I do? You don't need to feel guilty. You don't need to try and talk to her about it. And you definitely should not be the one to move. And you can't anyway, since you are the one on the lease and she is not. She is subletting from you, so work out the legal process where you are to give her a valid notice that the sublease is terminating, and do so. I suggest posting to r/legal advice for some help in that regard. Most likely, if you have no written sublease, all you will need to do is give her a 30 days written notice to vacate. Just give her that piece of paper and state the sublease will terminate and she needs to be out on X date. Let her cry if she wants to though. You are perfectly entitled not to want to live with a newborn, and you don't need to feel guilty or justify yourself. She is a grown woman. She has made the decision to have this baby, and she can find herself a new place to rent. You are not throwing her out onto the street. You're giving her legally valid notice, and her life choices are not your responsibility. I have lived with my pregnant stepmother. She was pregnant thrice. Every single day was the baby screaming and crying. The kitchen was occupied by baby bottles, feeding utensils, and so forth. Baby things everywhere. Doesn't matter if it's 2 p.m. or 2 a.m., the baby will cry. And babies grow. It will be a constant cartoon channel on the TV, day in and day out. If you don't want to hear the kid's voice, you'll hear Dibble the Gift Dragon or some other cartoon kids are watching nowadays on the TV. There will be toys littered everywhere. It never stops. And then your roommate will guilt trip you into allowing the mess in the common areas when you try talking to her about confining it to her room. You will have to baby-proof your apartment. If she doesn't turn into a full-blown monster, she'll have you throwing out everything that is not safe for a kid. Alcohol and so forth. It is just going to be a mess, especially if you're not the kind of person who likes kids or being around one. It was hell for me. Even now, my half-siblings are 6, 8, and 10. I can't stand being around them for more than 10 minutes. Don't feel guilty about kicking her out. She should have told you the truth from the beginning, and she should have started looking for another place to live. She has 4 months before the baby comes. She's an adult. She knew this from the beginning though, and so she should have started looking for another place. As a person who loves kids and I'm pregnant, I can see where she's coming from. But she knew the rules and she has to deal with the consequences. Maybe try to explain to her that you don't want to live with kids, but that you aren't going to stop talking to her because of her choice. Maybe also try to help her look for an affordable place. About a month ago, I posted about my preggers roommate who knows that I'm not a kid person. I came here to see if I was the jerk for not wanting to deal with it. This post garnered more attention than I expected, but I wanted to thank you all for sharing your thoughts. It was truly divided between people who thought that I was the jerk and people who thought that I was in the right. It gave me a lot to think about. After sitting on it for a few days, I contacted a local lawyer in my area and got a free hour of advice. She told me to go over my lease contract again and check all the fine print. It was good that she did that because I found a clause that states I have to have all tenants on my lease even if they're temporary. I broke that rule by not putting my roommate on the lease. I had a meeting with my landlord and admitted my mistake. He said I didn't really break any laws by not having my roommate on the lease, but Betty needed to come in and prove her income can sustain her and another person, her unborn baby, before they can add her. No biggie, right? The result? Betty now knows that she can't afford the baby. She has to apply for welfare if she wants to keep it, so she moved back home, to another state with her parents. TLDR, Betty moved out and back home with her mom. I am the a-hole for pushing it as far as I did, but I found a new roommate, 19 female who is on the lease and who has no desire for kids for another 5 years at least. Betty is clearly better off with a support system at home and even emailed me a tiny picture of some white blurry thing with a big head that she called her son. It was gross. Edit. Look, I'm not a baby hater. I just like them better out of the womb. Example, I like sex, but I don't like unsolicited dick pics. Those are gross. That doesn't make me a man hater either. Oh my god, you shouldn't even have to defend yourself for not wanting to live with someone's kids. If your roommate got a boyfriend or girlfriend, I would expect you to not be okay with them suddenly living with you and expect them to respect that and move out. Glad that Becky figured it out and went willingly. It turned out alright in the end then. She was incredibly short-sighted and selfish when she knew that she wouldn't be able to make it without a support system. This forced her to confront the fact. Sometimes that's what people need. Betty is clearly better off with a support system at home and even emailed me a tiny picture of some white blurry thing with a big head that she called her son. It was gross. I wheezed. Alright guys, that was it for today's stories. Thank you very much for listening. Go ahead and smash that like button for me and subscribe for more stories. Thanks again guys. We will be seeing you in the next one.